when we get to the front there. Yeah, today I'm visiting the palace of the great Kabaka. The Kabaka is the king of the Buganda, and he has a deep history as being one of the most efficient monarchs in Africa. So where are we, Augustine? Augustine is my guide for the day.
Now we are at Mengo Palace,
Okay.
the official palace of Buganda Kingdom.
Mengo Palace.
Yes.
It's a magnificent structure. It almost looks like Buckingham Palace.
Exactly. The inspiration.
So the inspiration is from the Buckingham Palace?
Yes. And this was the first ever modern palace in Uganda. Yes.
So why did the British identify with the Bugandan kingdom?
Sorry?
Why did the British identify with the Buganda kingdom as collaborators, as allies in the administration, in the indirect rule of Uganda?
So this, they had to coordinate with the most dominant kingdom around, so they can easily get other kingdoms within. So they had to coordinate with Uganda.
So they used the Buganda to capture the other kingdoms.
Exactly. Because they had to protect it firstly. That's how they came in. And then that's when they had to collaborate with the other kingdoms.
Okay.
Yes.
So the Buganda kingdom is made up of how many districts?
Counties, there are 18.
18 counties.
Yes, 18 counties. Each county has a chief, and this chief is only appointed by the king. So no elections in Buganda Kingdom.
No elections.
Only appointments.
So when did the supremacy of the Buganda kingdom start waning?
Winning?
Waning, start going down?
I should say that's 1890s.
1890s.
When Captain Lugard officially came in.
Lugard?
Yeah.
Lord Lugard?
Yeah, Lord
The
Lugard.
divide and rule?
Yes.
So he started dividing the kingdom?
Yes.
How long was he here? I know he was
Lugard
also
here
in
for 2 years.
he was also in northern Nigeria.
Oh, really? He was there?
Yeah, he preached the Lord Lugard's
Yes.
theory of divide and rule.
Okay.
So I'm from the Cameroons,
Okay.
and from this part called Ambazonia today,
Okay.
and we know about Lord Lugard's policy of dividing kingdoms so they don't become powerful.
Yeah.
So when he divided the Buganda kingdom, what did he do?
Of course, he wanted. He was bringing the British, though they came in through religious wars, settling religious wars here in Uganda, but the implementation was the British coming over here.
Okay. So from here, where do we go?
So now we're done here.
I don't know. Are we going in?
No, we're not going in. So we're going to. I want to give you some history about this place.
Yes, sure.
Then we shall go to the Amin torture chambers down there.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. So should I talk about it?
Yes.
All right. So now right here, this structure is called Twekobe.
Twekobe.
Yes, Twekobe means togetherness in our local language.
Can we see?
Yeah.
Okay. So we are here in front of the palace of the Kabaka.
Yes, the Kabaka's palace.
Okay. And you say it's called togetherness.
Yeah, now this structure behind me is called the Twekobe.
The Twekobe.
Yes, Twekobe means togetherness in our local language.
Which is Luganda.
Yeah, that is Luganda language. The most dominant language in Uganda.
Yes.
Yeah, so Twekobe was built in 1922 by one of our kings, a former king called Daudi Chua.
Daudi Chua?
Yes. Daudi Chua was the first ever king of Uganda to visit another country. So he went to Europe. He went
to England?
Yeah, he went to England, went to Germany, he went to France.
He got inspired by
he visited King George's Palace, of course, and that's why he got the inspiration to have such a modern structure in Uganda. Yes. So Twekobe is the first ever modern palace in our country. Though he only stayed here until 1939, that's when he disappeared.
That he traveled?
Oh, so this happened here in the meantime.
Yes.
So he
Travel in
traveled.
my language.
You
In
said
our
travel.
language,
Okay.
from Cameroon, where we came from,
Okay.
a
You said
king
travel.
a king doesn't die.
Yes.
He disappears
Just like
or
us.
he
Travel.
travels.
Perfect. That's fine. Yes. So the king traveled.
Yeah.
Yes, he disappeared at the age of 43.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had another king coming over, and that was his son, called Sir Edward Mutesa II.
Sir Edward Mutesa.
Sir Edward.
He was already a noble,
Yeah, he was
a
knighted
British,
by the Queen of England, 1959.
Queen Victoria.
Yes, please. And Sir Edward is a special person in Uganda.
Yeah.
Because he was the first ever president Uganda ever had.
Mm.
He was a ceremonial president. That's 1962. When
The first president of Uganda was Kabaka Sir Edward
exactly.
Mutesa.
Yes.
Mm.
So he was king and president at the same time. Was ceremonial. But
he became president under Queen Elizabeth too.
When we got independence, 1962.
1962,
yes.
10 years after Queen Elizabeth came to the throne of England.
Yes.
Okay.
But then in 1966, Sir Edward got some misunderstanding with his prime minister.
Who was the prime minister then?
Dr. Milton Obote.
Oh, Dr. Milton Obote.
Yes, so Obote was the executive prime minister with political power, and our king was the ceremonial president. With
executive powers.
Ceremonial. No, yeah,
ceremonial.
Yes, yes. So Obote had the executive powers. But then they got the misunderstanding, and then Obote sent soldiers here, led by Idi Amin, the army commander,
to this palace.
Yes, to this palace, and the intention was to kill our king.
Mm.
But fortunately, our king escaped.
Yes.
And ran to exile in England. Then this palace.
Oh, he was admitted.
Yes,
he was. The passage was eased by the British.
By the British.
For the king.
Yes.
To go and have refuge in England.
Yes.
Okay.
So when he went there, he only stayed until 1969, and then still Obote sent spies who poisoned him through alcohol.
Poisoned him?
Yeah, they poisoned him there.
And he died?
And he traveled.
He traveled, sorry. Yeah. Yes. Just the way we do in the grass field of Cameroons.
Yes.
In the mountains of Cameroon.
Okay.
The king doesn't die.
The
king travels.
Exactly.
Yes. The king disappeared.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So Obote and Amin captured this place, turned it into an army barracks, and that's when they also got the chance of building the torture chambers.
Torture chambers, right here in the palace.
Yes, they're right here in the palace, and that's where we're going to be going. And many innocent Ugandans lost their lives down there. So
Idi Amin was a torture master under Milton Obote.
Yes, he was the army commander.
Army commander.
And of course...
And left on the spot by the British.
Yes.
Okay, because he served their designs, or was he the most effective, effective Ugandan who actually mastered British savagery?
Yes.
Because I think the British are amongst the greatest savages on earth. They actually decimated many countries, many cultures, many peoples around the world.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm thinking about the Aborigines of Australia and the Tasmanians. The Tasmanians is an island next to Australia where they wiped out everybody. In fact, they caused genocide in very many places.
Yeah.
So they selected Amin because of his mastery of that British savagery.
Yeah. And now, in 1971, Amin became president of Uganda.
Okay.
The third president. And of course, that's when he built the torture chambers down there, where many people lost their lives. He ruled Uganda for 8 years.
Yes.
And during the time, it's estimated that over 500,000 people lost their lives. 500,000
people under Idi Amin.
Under Idi Amin.
Recently, I heard the son, one of the sons of Amin.
Sons?
One of the sons. Sons of Amin.
Okay.
He granted an interview to the son of a victim of Amin's torture and disappearance of opponents and whatever.
Okay.
And he said the son was arguing the figure of hundreds of thousands.
Okay.
He actually said what he knows is names that have been put to faces and names that have been put to lost dead people. It's between 5,000 and 10,000. What do you say about that?
According to the books, and according to the elderly people I've been talking to who were around during the time, actually some say it was even over 1 million people.
In fact, I'm actually here because I'm a refugee from the Cameroons. I'm coming to find out what happens to human beings, to become pariahs, political pariahs. What transformed Amin into the ruthless dictator that he was reputed for, I think Amin goes down in history as one of the first ruthless dictators in Africa, coming to power in 1971. And within 8 years, it is believed he killed between 100,000 and somewhere 500,000. He did it in very crude manner, ruthlessly, physically. But I'm coming from a country where it is done undercover, whereby people are disappeared. Okay, the king disappears here, but they are actually disappeared through motor accidents, through poisoning, like the king was poisoned in England in 1966, 69 by Milton Obote spies. And so they actually, in fact, it hit the peak between 2021 with the COVID. They actually disappeared very many people under the guise of coronavirus. Yes, actually disappeared many people. So we are having some of the worst dictatorships across Africa today, but that is pleasing to the United Nations, which is actually not governed by the Charter of the United Nations. It's instead governed by the Charter of Imperialism, the Charter of Imperialism, which is actually the opposite of what the United Nations Charter. The more you can kill your people, the more suitable you are to serve imperial agendas. So when they talk of democracy, democracy is only relative. If you are supporting their agendas, the imperial agendas, fine. You are fine to kill everybody for the sake of the imperial masters. Yes, but if you are there, when the president here came to power, he was heralded as the best thing to have happened to Africa in a very long while. From 1986, yes, Mussolini. America, it was America's good boy. But when things changed and Mussolini started proving to be his own man, to know what is good for his people, he now became a dictator. He now started being condemned, being accused of dictatorship, being blamed for all the wars of Uganda and Africa. And recently,
wars in Africa?
Yeah, because it's encouraging others to be pig-headed, to be stubborn, to imperial agendas.
Oh, yes.
And so we're coming back to where, if Idi Amin was that strong, it was because the colonial agendas allowed him to be there. Of course, he was the best soldier under the British.
Yes, he was.
And the Charter of Imperialism was hushed. Before 1884, when Africa was divided. So it was a precursor to the division and occupation of Africa by imperial concerns. I'm looking at Germany, Britain, France, England, and so on. So they set an agenda, or they set a charter on how to go about sharing the booty around the world. So Idi Amin was a product of that period. Idi Amin was a product of that school of thought, which enhanced or facilitated British dominance or British indirect rule of Africa. So we have a curio shop here.
Yeah, we shall come back. Let's first go down.
Yeah.
Come and have a look at that.
Okay.
Explain more about that.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when the people were brought in here,
Yeah.
they were driven.
Yeah. So these people, first of all, Amin was greedy for power. Amin was greedy for power.
Oh, greedy for power.
He wanted to be president for life in Uganda.
Yes.
That's why he killed the oppositions.
All opposition.
Yeah, opposition, because they were opposing his rule.
Yes.
Then secondly, the illiteracy problem.
Illiteracy.
Yes.
The lack of education.
Exactly.
Mm.
So Amin was also afraid of these intelligent people.
Mm-hmm.
These guys were more intelligent than he was.
Mm-hmm.
These were the diplomats, intellectuals in Uganda.
Yeah.
And he also killed them.
Yes.
He had
Intellectuals,
advice. Yeah,
professors, lecturers.
Exactly, professors.
Mm-hmm.
So he would get these people from the city, most of Obote's men, oppositions, and those other people,
Mm-hmm.
get them from Kampala, blindfold them,
Mm-hmm.
then throw them in the back of the truck,
and brought them down here
Yeah, then he would first drive them around the Kampala city for several hours.
so that they forget
Where they
their
are.
bearing.
Exactly.
They lose.
Disorient them.
Yes.
And then afterwards, they would end up within
Uh-huh.
within the torture chambers down here in the Mengo Palace.
Oh, I'm seeing the Great Kali Cathedral.
Yeah, that's a Catholic cathedral. It's called Rubaga.
Uh-huh.
Rubaga was built in 1925 by the French.
Yes.
But formerly where that church is, there was a palace of a king called Mutesa I.
Who surrendered it to...
No. So Mutesa I was attacked by smallpox,
Oh.
which was killing his wife and his people.
Mm.
So he had to shift from that hill to another hill.
So he believed that hill was cursed,
That's a point.
and the church took over.
No, then they gave the land to the church in
Uh-huh.
terms of promotion of Christianity here.
Hmm.
So he went to Kasubi and built Kasubi tombs.
Oh, so Kasubi is also built like this, or it's not?
Kasubi is also on top of a hill, but the other one is a masterpiece of human creativity. It's a thatch.
Yes.
The biggest thatched hut in the whole world.
The
And
biggest?
thatched hut in
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole world.
The Kasubi.
Kasubi tomb, royal tombs,
Mm.
and the UNESCO heritage site.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow,
This
I
is the
see
torture chamber now.
a whole monument here for Idi Amin.
Yes.
Welcome to Idi Amin's armory
Yeah.
that was constructed by the Israelis
Yes.
in the early 1970s, but later turned into a torture chamber where thousands of Ugandans lost their lives. Incidentally,
Yes.
these famous Israelis are the same people behind the genocide in the Cameroons,
Yeah.
the
So
genocide in Amazonia.
Yes. But now, about this point,
Yes.
these Israelis were hired on contract.
To build an armory,
That's the point.
military strategy, military support,
Yes.
because I learned the Israelis actually trained young officers from Uganda. Yeah?
Yeah, that's very true.
Uh-huh.
That's very true.
Just like in Cameroon, they train the officers and they provide military hardware, military equipment,
Okay.
and military command on the front.
Oh,
They're doing in Cameroon just like they're in Amazonia,
okay.
just like they're doing in Gaza today.
In
In Gaza, where they
yeah.
flooded, they kill children, they kill women, they bomb hospitals,
Yes.
humanitarian workers,
Okay.
everything is destroyed.
Oh, terrible.
Hmm.
So in here, no single victim escaped alive.
Nobody came here and went back out.
Oh, you came out dead.
Came here to be buried.
Exactly.
What happened to the bodies?
The bodies were thrown on the streets in Kampala as a warning.
To a deterrent to others.
Yes. Then
Not
as,
to do what?
as a warning not to oppose him.
Okay.
The man, Idi Amin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the threat. And then others were given to the crocodiles in the river Nile.
Mm-hmm.
And then others were buried within the palace here.
These
mass
palace
graves.
grounds are cursed,
Yeah, there are many mass graves in here. So,
haunted.
yeah, spirits. So
Wow.
there are mass graves within the palace here.
So this was the armory.
Yeah, this was the armory and torture chamber.
Hmm.
Yeah. So now, in 1971, Idi Amin hired Israelis to build him an armory
Yes.
where he would keep his fighting weapons, and this is what they built under the ground.
This massive concrete
Yeah.
structure. So we have how many rooms here?
There are 5 rooms.
5 rooms.
Yeah. And each cell had over 100 people packed in there. No food, no toilet, nothing.
Taken out
Yeah,
and executed
exactly.
on a daily basis.
On a daily basis.
This actually reminds me of the slave holdings at Cape Coast, Ghana,
Okay.
where most of these rooms will hold up to about 200.
200?
They were smaller than this, 200 slaves. Cape Coast Castle in Cape Coast, Ghana, was a slave holding, and that was done by the Dutch and later the British. And here we are having a similar holding, contracted and constructed by the Israelis, which Idi Amin used to hold his own people for execution. You know, the sending of slaves into the Americas is like killing them. Of course, the Africans, millions, went like that. Similarly, under dictatorship in Africa, millions of Africans have lost their lives. And here, Idi Amin benefited from an armory constructed by the Israelis, where he stored Ugandans and executed them in hundreds of thousands. Africa has lost millions to slavery. Africa is losing millions to dictatorship and all what we have happening in Africa today, corruption, disease. But I think the worst is having a dictator who takes the laws into his hands and decides to wipe out all those who are opposed to his bad government. Quite often, those dictatorships are not so confident of what they can offer their people, so they end up wiping those who have fine ideas on improving their bad governance. If you came up with governance proposals, you are wiped up. The case of Amazonia, we were supposed to have been independent since 1954 when we walked out of the Nigerian parliament after declaring our benevolent neutrality from Nigerian politics. So we walked out of Enugu. Between 1954 and 1961, we already had 2 democratic, transparent, free and fair elections by which 2 prime ministers, Dr. Emmanuel Ifeanyi was elected, and the opposition came in a few years later with Dr. John Gulfoncha. They were all democratic, transparent, peaceful, free and fair elections. So we can say Amazonia, which is fighting for its re-independence today, could be presented as the first independent country in Africa, even before Ghana, because we had autonomy in 1954. But curiously, we have this British governor here, the last one, Andrew Cohen. Can you tell me about Andrew Cohen?
Yes,
Andrew Cohen.
That's
Yeah.
1952.
Yeah.
50, yeah. So Andrew Cohen was a British governor here in Uganda.
The last governor
Yes.
before independence.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And Governor actually Cohen wanted
Yeah.
the East African Union.
So before we get out of these torture chambers, you are saying about 500,000 people.
No, right here, roughly 26,000 people died.
26,000 people were.
Amin used it for roughly 6 years. Then Obote also came and used it afterwards. That's in 1980 up to 85. So Obote was more into revenge. So he brought Amin's men who
Killed his men,
Exactly.
Obote men.
Exactly. And he also brought the Baganda because he hated us.
The Buganda were more
most
loyal
dominant.
to the king,
Yes, exactly.
to the Kabaka,
To the Kabaka, our Kabaka.
who believe he is supposed to be the leader
Yes, the Kabaka is our leader.
of the whole Uganda.
Here
Yes,
in Buganda, after God,
yes, it's the
Kabaka
Kabaka.
is next. Nobody's above Kabaka here.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody is above Kabaka.
I know the people, the pioneer Christians,
Yes.
the early Christians, were, can we say, martyred because they were
They
claiming
got the
some
matter-
other.
They got the matters?
Yes, the martyrs,
Yes.
the killing of those people for calling the name of another god,
Yeah.
treating.
That was actually the Uganda
So
matters.
what passage is
This
this?
was a diversion of water.
So
to
that
fill up
it's
this
not
place.
to flood the
Yeah,
place.
but the place still there was water down there. And there was
always.
electricity.
Uh-huh.
So people were electrocuted down there. They were electrocuted.
Inside here,
Yeah, inside here.
everything is disconnected now.
Yeah, but electrocution was all about getting information from them, and that's why they would put them in the cells,
Yes.
and that's why they would die of starvation or suffocation. Yes. So I was talking about Cohen.
Yes, Andrew Cohen.
Sir Andrew Cohen, yeah. Sir Cohen was a British governor here in Uganda, and he wanted the East African Union.
Okay,
He wanted Kenya,
Uganda.
Tanzania, and Uganda.
to be one.
Exactly. But then Sir Edward, the king by the time, refused to sign that agreement.
Okay.
When he refused, he was exiled in North Ireland.
Sir Edward Mutesa.
Sir Edward Mutesa, that's the father of the current king.
Yes.
Very special and loved king.
Yes.
So he was exiled in North Ireland in a city called Belfast.
Okay.
And of course, while there, he got another inspiration. He also saw the Stormont building, which he admired.
Yeah.
And then that's when he got the special building up there, the headquarters of the king.
And when I called the name of Andrew Cohen,
Yes.
incidentally,
Yes.
when Andrew Cohen left Uganda as Governor General,
Yes.
he was the UN trusteeship representative of the British of England. He was the representative of England to the UN trusteeship council. And the UN trusteeship council
Pass this way. No, those are for answer.
and the UN trusteeship council had as mandate to prepare all those under British trust for independence. Incidentally, they had to prepare the former British Southern Cameroons for independence. Curiously, they twisted the warped Andrew Cohen. Instead advised that Ambazonia or British Southern Cameroons did not have enough logistics, financial and economic to sustain an independent country. So we are suffering in the former British Southern Cameroons with a genocide which has claimed about some 5,000 people after 8 years of war because of Sir Andrew Cohen, that very British.
Yeah, that very British.
Yes, who decided to mess up Uganda, send the king into exile because the king was opposed to the East African Union, which would have put Tanzania, Kenya and Uganda as one country for easy administration by the British. Is this departing from Sir Lugart's policy of divide and rule?
Sorry, is this one?
A departure from Lugart's.
Yes.
Lord Lugart's.
Divide and rule?
Divide and rule.
Yes. That's a departure.
Yes. Yeah, we've been asking how feasible it is for one country to gain independence by joining another. And we are seeing here that it was just a typical Andrew Cohen confusion. Andrew Cohen confusion. Yes. Wow. This is a rich history. Does the king ever visit this palace again?
The king comes, but of course,
ceremonial.
Exactly. But of course, that can happen like 5 times in a year.
In a year.
6 times in a year. Strictly to see his people, meetings, and of course some ceremonies.
After Sir Edward Mutesa, how many kings have been here in Buganda Kingdom?
The current is the son of Sir Edward.
Okay.
But then in 1966, after the attack, Obote changed the constitution of Uganda and abolished all cultural institutions in Uganda because of Uganda. So Uganda spent 27 years without any cultural institution here.
Okay.
People lived in misery. They missed their culture, they missed their kings.
Yes.
Until 1993, when the current king of Buganda, with the help of President Museveni, King Kabaka, Ronald Muwenda Mutebi II.
Is he also Sir Ronald?
He wasn't knighted.
He was not knighted.
Yes. But he's the one who implemented the restoration of the kingdoms back in Uganda. And now the kingdoms are back in Uganda because of the Kabaka.
Exactly.
Yes.
Going back to my own area of origin, I come from a great Abrahamic kingdom in West Africa. The greatest king in Widikum, which is called Fominyen, the king of the Meta.
He's the greatest
in West Africa, one of the Abrahamic. But the British, when they came, since Cameroon was first under German administration, they decided to create their divide and rule there, caused a lot of trouble. So the incumbent king who was there, they decided to weaken him by shifting their allegiance to another, which they call clan head.
Clan head.
Yes, but of course we don't have clan heads. In my place, we have what we call Bameta, just like you say Kabaka.
Yes.
If somebody comes and starts calling him king, whereas you are saying Kabaka, he's running away from something.
Okay.
So he creates somebody somewhere called king, while you are having the Kabaka.
The Kabaka. Yes, a good one. So you also have clans in Cameroon?
Yes, we have clans.
Which form of clans do you have?
A lot of clans, just traditional clans, not as powerful as the 52 clans of the Buganda.
Hey, they are 56 now.
They are 56?
Yes.
What happened?
Of course, each Kabaka has to bring in some other clans.
Oh.
So the kind also introduce
So
some.
they're coming from where?
So these clans, we have animals, we have plantations, we have fish, we have birds, insects, even rainwater.
I've seen aerial yam. So what makes them to become clans? How do they move from an ordinary community to a clan?
So a clan is a family. A clan is more of a family, belonging to a specific item.
Yes.
And that's what we are. Let me start from here about this material.
Yes.
So this is an African fig tree.
Oh, yes.
And we strip the top of the tree with a knife, get the inside, then this will regrow back after 8 months.
Oh,
this is
very fast.
Yeah.
Very fast.
And every family had this tree in the compound, specifically for the clothing. So
we have it in my clan. It is called gum.
Oh, really?
Gum.
The backcloth?
The gum.
The gum, okay.
Gum. Uguma. Oh. And uguma, wherever this tree grows.
Oh, wait. The Kenyans also call it mugumo. Now you call it ugumo.
Ugumo.
Okay, I see.
Wherever ugumo grows, wherever ugumu grows, when a new king comes in, he plants one ugum.
Okay.
When that ugum survives,
Uh-huh.
it means his reign will be a successful one.
That's the point in there.
So Kumasi in Ghana is still the same name, Kum Asi, the kum of the ground. Wherever that tree grows, there will be life. Kumasi has been there for hundreds of years.
Okay.
That tree, it is there. I went and saw it in 2011, Kumasi. We have a prominent one in front of my palace in Cameroon or in Ambazonia. The palace of the fawn of Nyen. The fawn is a Kabaka. The fawn is a Kabaka, it's a king.
Okay.
So it is there. It is growing, it's doing very well. And the last king of fawn has been on the throne for 50 years.
50 years.
50 years. And it's still waxing strong. He's
Wow.
76 today.
Okay.
And so we are looking forward to having him again for the next 20 to 25 years.
So, he's 70 what? 79?
He is 76.
Really? And people love him. You also
Yes.
take him like a god. Small god?
No, not. You know, Christianity came and destroyed
Yeah. The African culture.
African culture, the
Yeah.
power of the kings and so on.
Yeah.
But more or less, he's like a traditional, the custodian of the traditions and customs of the Widikum people.
Okay.
So it's more like a god to the people, but not idolized. Not idolized
I
or
see.
worship.
Okay.
His brother or his uncle was actually the first ordained pastor in the grass field of Cameroon. Was ordained around 1930 something. He was ordained then because he refused to become a king. He preferred to do missionary work.
Okay.
So he trained as a pastor.
Oh.
And he was ordained the first ordained pastor in the grass field. And he was the first, the whole German grass field. So, yeah, that's about the king.
Yeah.
And the king was the first educated in the northwest of the Cameroons. By 1932, they already had standard education.
From which country?
Cameroon.
From Cameroon already?
Yes.
Wow. That's so cool.
Standard education, 1932. He was the first king to have a standard six pass.
That's 100 years back.
Yes, 100 years back.
Wow.
He was already educated. So he always went into hard political issues with the politicians who were not as educated as him, through whom he could easily see their fraud, could see their manipulation, and could read into history and come out with valid conclusions. For instance, a landmark decision he took was in 1961 during the plebiscite, whereby Sir Andrew Cohen had advised that we should have independence by joining the Federation of Nigeria or Cameroon. He advised against joining Cameroon, against his political kinsman, whom he had earlier blessed in 1951, who emerged to be one of the strongest politicians in the Cameroons. He went against him and voted against joining the Cameroon Republic. And in hindsight, we think he was right, because today we are counting thousands, tens of thousands of people raped, killed, and burned in their homes. Babies are seized from their mother's breast, killed, and cast into boiling oil. Babies are shot through the head, the brains blown out. I'm not exaggerating. Just search the genocide in Ambazonia. You will see it there. So this visionary king, who in 1961 said these people were barbarians, he was already educated. He saw the French rule, what was happening in East Cameroon, how they were killing. And so he joined Endeli, who was the king of Boya, who had warned that joining the Republic of Cameroon was joining savages. Joining the Republic of Cameroon was joining savages. So the turbulent history of Uganda is equally as turbulent as that of Cameroon today. Fortunately for Uganda, Uganda is coming out of that dark period. There might be poverty today. There might be some form of political vendetta, witch hunt, and disappearances. But it is not compared to anything that's happening in Cameroon today. That type of savagery that Idi Amin did not practice is being practiced by the current leadership of Cameroon. So the people of Ambazonia are fed up with that state of affairs. They were not a French colony. They don't know why they should be subservient to another French colony being occupied. And so those who had voted in 1961 for independence by joining Cameroon Republic have now gone, they went back to the United Nations in 1995 to see if they could reverse that situation. But of course, the Trusteeship Council was dissolved in 1994 because they had to revisit the union between Cameroon and former British Southern Cameroons in 1991. That is 30 years after the federal system. But Ahijo, the French puppet who was placed in government in Yaoundé, had in fact violated the federal constitution, had occupied British Southern Cameroons like a colony, and were now indebted, or were now expected to respect a colonial pact that was signed between France and its French colonies, by which those former colonies had to deposit 60% of their revenue in the French treasury, and only go there and take loans from their own money became loans to them, while the French were feeding fat. So Ambazonia is asking, why should we continue to be subservient to such a system? And so we are fighting for self-determination since 2017. It's not a language war between those speaking French and those speaking English. It is self-determination, which is recognized by international law. It is self-determination which should, in fact, allow us to be able to take responsibility of our affairs, use our resources for our development. Yeah.
Wow.
So we are back here to...
Yes, so actually, Amin, what I didn't say about Amin had a good side as well.
Yeah.
Amin loved the development within Uganda.
Yeah.
Amin modified our airports. He bought the first airline, Uganda Airline, owned by Uganda. Amin built the National Hospital,
Yes.
Molago. Yes, and many other infrastructures.
And he didn't borrow a shilling to do that. I hear all the money was generated locally. He did not borrow.
Yes, exactly. That's
He
the
did
point.
not indebt Uganda.
That was off-ground income.
Yes.
So he loved the development within Uganda, but the problem was the greed for power.
Yeah, the hunger.
The hunger and the greed.
Yes.
But of course, like you said, it depends on the people you ask.
Yes.
Some people will say he was a good man. Then other people will say, of course, he was never a good man.
What do you think about his affirmative action by which he decided that Indians are taking too much of Uganda, they must go?
Yeah, actually, to that, I think Amin was right. Amin was right because by this time, Uganda would be an Indian country. There would be flooding everywhere.
But the Indians are flocking back.
Yeah, they're flocking back, but if he
Still
didn't
dead.
do what he did,
Hey,
by now
we would not have had breathing
I think we would
space.
have been pushed out of Kampala and everywhere.
Yes.
But at least now,
He stopped it for some time.
yes, they stopped it because they would have taken over everything.
What do you think about Amin coming back to Uganda?
Amin coming back to Uganda.
Yes, Amin.
So
Amin.
Amin coming back to Uganda.
Yes.
So me, accordingly to what I've read and what I've got from the experienced people who were there during his time, I wouldn't recommend it.
No, you don't think so?
I don't think so.
You recommend
Because
an
still-
improvement of the situation, but not a return of Amin.
Exactly, because of course the insecurity will still be there.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be having people like you visiting Uganda. People were afraid of coming to Uganda
Okay.
because of, now for instance,
That's-
I'm in the tourism industry. No visitor, no tourist would risk his life coming to an insecure country.
Exactly.
So, accordingly to me, I can't second it.
Not Amin, you are completely against
Yes,
another
coming back.
dictatorship,
Yes,
isn't it?
yes,
Okay, for the
I
sake
prefer
of
the
governance,
peace. Yes,
for the sake of peace,
yes,
for the sake of letting people be themselves.
exactly. And of course, letting my field progress. The
Yes.
tourism part.
Safari and
Yeah.
so on. Yeah, Uganda attracts quite a huge.
Number.
I mean, I've never seen as many tourists in Cameroon for all my life, like I'm seeing here in Uganda in 1 month.
Uganda is a good country.
Yes,
We
it
have
is.
treasure people.
It is.
We have good historical places. Actually, Uganda is good. The nature.
That's why I'm feeling fine here.
Yeah, it's actually we are treasure people. You find
Yes.
people smiling.
And of course, how
very
do you
helpful.
trace your ancestry? Where do you trace your origins from? You, the Buganda?
With the Uganda,
Yeah,
tracing our ancestry.
yeah.
With the
Where are you
Bantu.
from?
Where are we from?
Yes,
The Uganda.
yeah.
We are from the central.
Central what?
Central
Where did you come from before finding yourself in this country called Uganda?
Uganda.
Yes.
Actually, I read some book that we originated with,
Yeah, the mountains of Cameroon.
yes.
So right here, I'm your ancestor who has come to visit you to see how you're faring
How we are
in
feeling,
this
how we
part
are
of the
doing.
world. Yeah, I don't have issues
Yes.
moving around Uganda.
Yes, I see.
If I don't speak Luganda, that's when they know I'm a Muzungu.
You're Muzungu. You're Muzungu.
Yeah, they
But
call me
This
Muzungu.
color is not from Muzungu.
Muzungu is foreigner, isn't it?
No, Muzungu is a white person.
Yeah, but they call me Muzungu.
Who's calling you Muzungu?
Some people call
No,
me
they don't
Muzungu.
call you Muzungu because you're black. You're fellow black. That totally differs. It totally differs.
Yeah.
You can't be Muzungu. But anyway,
Yeah, so without speaking,
yes.
nobody will put a nationality on me.
Yeah. True.
Without the foreign tongue.
Without a foreign tongue.
Yeah,
exactly. That's the
if
point.
I can speak Luganda, I will go everywhere.
But can you speak some Luganda?
Jabale Sebo,
Yeah, but, oh, greetings. And
Yeah.
you can also bargain, I guess.
I can bargain.
Border.
Billy, no.
Yes.
Kumi.
Yes.
Mutwaro.
How long have you been here?
I've been here 2 years, but I have to
In
learn.
Uganda?
Yeah.
Oh.
I've been here
At
since.
some Makerere University. Are you studying?
Yes, I did peace studies at Makerere University
Wow, that's good.
to be able to go back and see how I can
So often are you
implement.
back to Cameroon?
No, I've not been back
For 2
because
years?
no, for 2 years I'm here.
Yeah.
Matoke and all that
You eat all the
chapati and stuff,
Rolex.
Rolex
Commando.
and all those things.
Oh, wow, that's good. That's
Hey,
really good. So now, anyway, this is the Buckler,
yeah,
and this is one of the oldest fabrics in Africa, established in Uganda.
yeah. They still do it in the Cameroons too. We do it.
Now we utilize it. We do art out of it, and
Where is the artist?
I'm one of the painters.
Oh, you are one.
Yeah.
Oh, great. I'm a stone sculptor.
Sorry.
I'm a stone sculptor.
Oh, really?
I can actually carve you on stone. I use mixed media. I can use wood.
Okay.
I do papier mache, which comes out like this.
Okay.
You know, you gather all waste papers and you steep it in water and bring it back into pulp and come up with a painting platform like this.
Wow.
So that's called papier mache. I do that.
You do that?
I use
that's really
mixed
cool.
media.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
That's amazing. So now this we sell to travelers. The
Yes.
boy is sold to travelers. I don't
Good.
know if you want to take something.
Not now. I will come back for that.
Yes, okay.
Yes,
And then
since I'm here.
Yeah, since you're here.
Uh-huh.
And then secondly, there's just a book I would love you to.
Great.
Have you heard of this book called The Separation of My Kingdom?
The Separation of My Kingdom.
Yes.
It's written by who?
Sir Edward.
Oh, Mutesa. Yeah, I would love to have it.
Yeah.
How much is it?
It's 70,000.
Then I'll come back for that.
Yeah, it's good, but it's only one copy remaining.
Oh,
It's a good book actually for history you need.
yes.
It's a very good book. He wrote it.
Yes, so
Time and excellent.
what will happen is